Remember the Oppo A7 that we reviewed last year? Well, it was not on par with competition, and in fact, it was one of the worst value for money smartphones of 2018. Now, this time they have launched its successor, the Oppo A9 2020. And it's obvious that Oppo wants its A series to succeed. So with this one, they have upped their game a little bit. This one offers better cameras and an overall upgrade in performance. But the competition in the mid-range segment in 2019 is crazy. So does the Oppo A9 2020 live up to its billing? Well, without wasting any further time, let's jump straight into the review of the Oppo A9 2020. Now, I have been using the Oppo A9 2020 for the past couple of weeks, and the one I have has this marine green glass back. Dark, glossy, and filled with gradient colors. I guess that's what best describes its look. You will be able to see different patterns of reflection on it depending upon your viewing angle. Surprisingly, it's not very bulky and thick given the fact that it has a 5000 mAh battery inside. So overall, I am quite pleased with its design because of its glass back, which makes me feel like I'm holding some expensive and premium smartphone. One minor complaint that I have with it is that the glass finish attracts smudges. You will feel a continual need to keep wiping the back, as you will witness that fingerprint marks on the back of your device are quite common. However, the good thing is that you actually get a clear case along with the device. But still, if you plan on using the device caseless, well, all I can say is good luck. On the back side, you will find a quad camera setup with 3 cameras aligned vertically above the fingerprint scanner and another one just beside the camera array along with the LED flash. The button placement in the A9 2020 is pretty standard. There's a power button on the right and the volume buttons are on the left. Just above the volume buttons is the tray for dual nano SIM and a dedicated microSD card. The loudspeaker, a USB-C port, microphone and a 3.5mm headphone jack, all of it is housed in the bottom rim and the top rim is completely void of any. At the front, there is the 6.5-inch IPS LCD screen with a small water drop notch on the top, and the display is protected by Gorilla Glass 3. As with phones in 2019 Go, there are thin bezels on the sides and a thin chin on the bottom. You get a 720p resolution here, which is one of the biggest drawbacks of this device. I mean, it costs upwards of $300 and what we are left with is a 720p resolution screen, which does not do justice to the price at all. Don't get me wrong, its display is fine as you will get good colors, ample brightness, and will be able to notice sharp enough details. However, the cost that you'll be paying for a 720p display phone is just too much. I was already complaining about the Mi A3 that has 720p resolution, but at least it had an OLED panel. This one in competition does not even have a OLED display. I think the 720p resolution should be reserved for sub $150 phone category. Now for the UI, the Oppo A9 uses Android 9 Pie with ColorOS 6.0.1 on top. Although I'm not a big fan of ColorOS, but as compared to Realme phones, I found the UI to be better on Oppo phones from icons to transition. Also, with the ColorOS, you'll probably not feel any lags while using it. Switching between the apps is also no problem as everything is very smooth. I think the smoothness is further complemented by its RAM, which is a huge 8 GB. I found the UI to be highly customizable too. You can choose whether you want an app drawer or not, the screen layout, and even customize the ways you want your navigation buttons to be arranged. Furthermore, you get features such as Smart Driving and Smart Assistant, which despite being common in smartphones these days might come in handy. Now, the device does come pre-installed with many apps, however, you can easily uninstall them if you want. Onto the performance, I was actually there at the launch event of this phone, and there they had showcased it as a smartphone that can play any games without any hindrance. But since it is powered by the Snapdragon 665 SoC, top-tier games such as Mobile Legends, PUBG and Call of Duty run smooth, but only at low or balanced settings and minimum frame rates. Although the Game Boost 2.0 and Oppo's optimization helps the phone a bit with gaming performance, the Snapdragon 665 is simply not the best gaming chipset for the price. Now, I am not saying that Snapdragon 665 is a bad chipset. It handles your day-to-day needs pretty well, but again, like the display, it does not quite justify the price range of the device. They could have easily opted for the Snapdragon 730 or the Helio G90T, which guarantees better performance. One plus point, however, is the sound quality. Thanks to Dolby Atmos support with stereo speakers, this phone produces clear and loud enough sound with good depth in it. Another aspect that the company has heavily focused about the device is its cameras. On the rear, this device has a quad camera setup. It comprises of a 48 megapixel primary lens, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide, 2 megapixel mono lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The camera by default captures 12 megapixel images, and they are on par with what other phones in this price range deliver. During daylight, it has natural colors, good contrast, and satisfactory details. However, sometimes the images could be a hit or a miss, mainly because of its focusing issue, so maybe Oppo needs to fix that via a software update. The 8 megapixel wide-angle lens is nothing extraordinary, but does a good enough job in my opinion. Capturing image in low light is also average, like what phones at this price range give. Usually, I could see that my photos come out grainy. However, there is this night mode feature that you can make use of while taking nighttime photos. And indeed, you will be able to see significant difference in quality between your normal low light photos and those captured using the night mode. So much so that I think the night mode is one of the best things about its rear cameras. Portrait images are just okay-ish, considering there are two lenses, the depth sensor and mono lens at work. You will find instances where you'll find yourself asking for more of the blur effect on background, as the bokeh could miss parts of it. However, edge detection is good. The fourth lens here is the mono black and white lens, which Oppo calls O6 portrait lens. With this dedicated hardware and software processing, you get some interesting color filters and effects. Moving on to the front camera, the Oppo A9 2020 has a 16 megapixel selfie shooter housed in the notch up front. The photos come out great, as you can observe good details and pretty good color in your selfies. There is also a portrait selfie option that again does an okay-ish job. And as expected on Oppo phones, there is also an AI beauty option with features like smoothening, thinning face, smaller face, and whatnot. I personally don't use this feature a lot, except when I have to include samples like this to show in our reviews. As far as video recording is concerned, this device is capable to capture 1080p and 4K videos at 30 fps. There is no 60 fps recording option, and you cannot click videos via the wide-angle lens. However, there's electronic image stabilization, which works fine for 1080p footages. I did compare A9 2020's images with its closest competitor in the offline market, the Vivo S1, and found both doing a good job. The A9 does have an edge when it comes to color accuracy. I mean, Vivo S1 has slightly oversaturated images, which might turn out better in some scenarios, but in some images like this one, Oppo has a natural color tone and looks better. However, as I mentioned earlier, you do have some focusing issues on the A9, which Oppo needs to fix via a software update. Also, the Vivo S1's portrait shots has better focus and colors on the subject with more vibrant background, whereas the Oppo A9 has better edge detection. So, as compared to the competition, the Oppo A9 2020's cameras are on par with what the competition is offering. Now, the area where Oppo has not made any compromises with this device is its battery. With a huge capacity of 5000 mAh, this device should easily give you a day and a half of battery life. Depending upon your usage status, it is obvious why this device has a very good battery life, and no, it's not just the battery size. The display plays a huge role too. HD Plus display if you remember. However, charging time is like 2.5 hours since it lacks any kind of fast charging feature. And this is the area where I think compromise has been done, as they could have easily included their own VOOC charging tech. In terms of security, the fingerprint sensor in fact is quite impressive. It's pretty quick and reliable. There's also a software-based face unlock, which is again fast and also performs good in low light conditions. However, I found the fingerprint to be much faster than the face unlock. Another security feature that's available on the A9 2020 is Privacy Passcode. It is used for app encryption and can be further binded by security email or your Oppo ID. The manufacturers claim that this encryption happens on a chip level, so it is secure from brute force attacks. So if you might have some files or apps that you want to keep private, this is where this feature comes into play. Now that's neat, isn't it? So my verdict on the Oppo A9 2020 is, considering the price, Oppo should be offering more. And like I said in the intro, the mid-range segment in smartphones is crazy. You make one mistake and you're out. And Oppo A9 2020 has made a big one, and that is by offering an underwhelming HD IPS display. Now, I can live with the Snapdragon 665 chipset since Oppo's UI is quite customized these days, but a $300 phone that has an HD Plus display is definitely going to put off a lot of its customers. For me, the Oppo A5 that comes with a low-res 12-megapixel cameras but has identical looks and hardware is a better value for money than the Oppo A9. So that was all for our review of the Oppo A9 2020. Tell us what you think about the device in the comment section below. And till then, I'm Pratima Adhikari and thank you for watching.